Hey, how you doing? Thanks for downloading the show. Welcome to Garden Fork Radio. It's eclectic DIY. It's me and my friends talking about what we think are interesting things. Hopefully you will too. There'll be some just kind of brain dumps and then Eric running off. But Nicole's here to keep me on target. Welcome, Nicole.
Is that my role?
Well, you're the adult in the room.
Keep the eclectic DIY less eclectic or something.
Could you just tell me what to do every day?
Yeah, I'm here for that. In fact, letnicoledecide.com is almost ready.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I'm excited. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. But yeah.
No, people need help and they will pay you for that help. And the fact that they're paying you makes it more valuable to them. And they will follow through on it.
Yeah, I have some stuff I'm trying to give away on the free group, and it's so frustrating because people say they're coming and they don't come, and I'm just like, I want this out of my life. Why is this so hard for you?
Yes, I found the free thing doesn't work. See, here we are on a tangent. Yeah, if you say $20, it kind of filters people out.
Right. Yeah, the people who are serious. Exactly. I mean, but we're on a big purge around here. So the basement had gotten out of control, and I don't know if your cables replicate in your house, but the cables in our house replicate.
Yeah.
We have so Brent, thankfully, I kind of cornered him and I was like, let's do speed cable analysis. If you know for sure we can get rid of it, we're going to get rid of it. But yeah, no. Okay. So, well, I'm so glad we're here. It's nice to hear your voice.
Yeah, yours too. Quick shout out to Gig and Jen, my friends. I've been emailing with them. They're having some issues right now that are life-changing, and I just wanted to say that I was thinking about them and give them some positive vibes here. So just wanted to send that out there to them.
Yeah, I love that. Speaking of shout outs, Bill sent me a note just checking in to see how we were doing this weekend, which was really nice.
Yay.
Bill, Bob. I'm sorry, Bob. Super kind, though, just to check in.
Yeah, and I owe him an email to get him on the show to talk about driving tanks because I'm fascinated by that.
Yes, I'm really excited for that.
Cool. So I just wanted to share with you this one thing. I do talk about my depression. I've decided not to call it my depression anymore. It's depression that I experience. And the other day I was not feeling great, and it's usually when I don't sleep well. But I didn't even do this on purpose, but I just called a college friend of mine that I talk to almost every week. And we talked about nonsensical things that we always talk about and make little jokes that we only us understand. And I felt the brain chemistry change in my head, and then I felt fine the rest of the day. So if you're having an anxious moment or a depressive moment, call one of your friends. Sometimes it'll work.
Well, I had a similar thing. Otis and I had a fight yesterday on the way to baseball practice, and I realized in analyzing it that I had been I guess maybe feeling anxious, or I had been feeling angry before I was primed for a fight, is what I'm going to say. So I was trying in my head, what I realized I needed to do was pay attention to that feeling. And before I actually have a fight with somebody, go move my body, go do physical activity. Because Otis said he felt so much better after he went to baseball practice,
Yes.
And I was like, yes, that, we need to pay attention to our body and then take action based on what we've noticed. So good job for calling your friend.
Yeah, it's so fun because it was 4 years. We spent 4 years together, and then I moved back to the East Coast. I lived with my aunt, and then I got an apartment in Brooklyn with this guy who changed my life, Charlie Shaw. If anyone knows Charlie Shaw, because he's a musician, everyone in New York, any musician I've ever met in New York, I say, do you know Charlie Shaw? They go, yeah.
Oh, wow.
He introduced me to so many people. But anyway, my college buddy wanted to move to New York, and there was a sale on Hertz, or someone was having a sale on cheap budget cars, and I called him one day. I said, you want to come to New York? He said, yeah. I said, start packing. I'll be there in 2 days. And I rented a Chrysler K car and drove to where he lived, and I piled him and his junk in the car, and we drove back to New York City. So,
I love that.
Yeah. Just sometimes it's like, I just kind of like, look, you want to do it? Let's go. And then every once in a while, I can take action.
Well, it's funny. I one of my good friends from college just reminded me that like after college, she had some time, but she didn't have any money. And I was like, "Get in the car. You're coming with me to Montana. We're going." And we like road tripped across the country without any money. I have no idea how we even got home.
Yeah, there's that. I have a friend right now who has been working in New York in restaurants. He graduated culinary school, and now he is going to go to France and he secured a job in August in France. He speaks French and English. And so he left his job early here, and he's going to spend the next 2 months bombing up and down the East Coast with a friend of his in a car, finding little hole in the wall restaurants and getting off the interstate. And I was like, "Come on, man, you need to keep working." And then the camera operator reminded me, well, this is a time in his life where he has that flexibility to take 2 months off and just run around. He doesn't have kids. He's got to get to school. He doesn't have like
Right.
a rent or a mortgage he has to pay. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did that.
Doesn't have any dogs to worry about. Doesn't have any. Yes.
Yay. So I, the algorithm on YouTube every once in a while works, and it knows that I have made wooden boat videos, plywood boat videos, and it knows that I sometimes watch videos about those being built. And so this link that came up for an easy build that's French, I believe. But anyway, he's building a DIY boat with $100 Lowe's gift card. He calls it the solo pirogue, or the solo canoe, in other words. And his
Okay.
channel's called the Cumberland Rover. This is his breakout video. It has like 200,000 views. The rest of his views have maybe 1,500 views, and I think he's quite happy with that. But the light bulb moment for me, first it was beautiful. It was a beautiful story because his father-in-law gave him a $100 Lowe's gift card for his birthday. And that's what my father-in-law does for me. He doesn't try and buy me anything. He just sends me a Home Depot or Lowe's gift card for Christmas and my
Aw.
birthday. And he said, I'm going to try and build a boat with a $100 Lowe's gift card. So I know he had a GoPro or something clamped to his lumber cart, and he went through Lowe's and bought the lumber. And he built this Pirogue, pirogue.
I keep thinking of the Polish pierogies.
Right. But I think it might be French. Anyway, the light bulb moment for me is I use plywood on the whole boat. And the sides can be a challenge with the thin plywood. So he has a
Right.
plywood bottom, but he uses pine 1x10s that are 12 foot long for the sides. So basically, the cheap pine that you make bookshelves out of? It's called a 1x10, but it's 3/4 by 9.5. And it has some knot holes in it. But there's a flex to it, but there's a strength to it as well. And I was just blown away. I'm like, why didn't I ever think of this? So he has the plans for $10. He sells the additional DIY seat for $5. So I sent him $15 and got a PDF, a beautiful PDF. It's like a 20-page PDF on building the canoe. And I'm going to build it. And then I emailed him and asked if he wanted to be on the show. And whenever I invite someone, the last line is always, if you don't want to, I completely understand. Not everyone wants to
Right.
be on the internet. And he wrote me back a very nice note because he looked at my channel and everything. And he said, I just prefer not to do podcasts or interviews. And I don't blame him. And so that was totally cool. It would be fun to have him on because he's just a ton of information about small sailboats and boats and stuff. But his channel's really fun. He builds a boat and he flies it, paddles it around. He plays a ukulele in one of them. It's the beauty of YouTube. It's like this guy, his father-in-law gave him $100 and he made a great video with it. I love that.
Well, the thing I liked about it, since I did watch the video because you did recommend it on double speed, was to the just like the going to the store and walking around and seeing what they have.
Yeah.
Not having a list, but like the serendipity of it and seeing like, oh, there's that skinny plywood that supposedly is a 1 by 10, but is actually a 3 1/4 by a 9 1/4 or something.
Lumber talk here.
Um, well, there were some people tearing. Oh, I have a friend who has a farm out in Virginia, and we went out to see it finally after all these years. And it has the old farmhouse, and the old farmhouse is like falling down, so they're gonna tear it down, but they're gonna salvage the wood because the wood apparently is still really useful,
Yeah, it's very valuable.
right? So anyway, I don't know why the sizing thing is. I find it annoying.
Yep. It's
That's it there. Yeah.
and
Well,
it's
I'm excited for your boat. I always love it when you make a boat. Where are we in Operation New Boat?
well, I actually found I'm cleaning my workshop. I found 2 cans of that black rubber spray that you see advertised on TV and YouTube. It's called I can't remember what it's called, but it can be it's a roll of tape or it's a spray or it's a can of rubber. I'm going to spray the outside of the boat with the liquid rubber and see if that seals up the leaks I have with the plywood
Oh,
boat.
rubber cement?
No, it's this, it's like one of those, you'd want to see it on the Home Shopping Network.
Oh, as seen on TV. Yes.
Yes, let's make a spray rubber coating. Let's see what comes up. It's
Okay,
called
make sure you
Flex
wear your,
Seal. Flex Seal. Flex.
make sure you wear your mask with that when
Yeah.
you're spraying it.
So, I mean, Rust-Oleum has a version of it, but Flex Seal they have one video where they cut an aluminum boat in half and then they taped it back together. They cut it in half, bow to stern, and then they tape it back together with their super duper rubber tape, and then they go out in the boat with, I think, a motor on the back. So I've got 2 cans of that, and I bought it to try and fix a rain gutter, and it didn't work. And I thought, what if I just spray all the joints of my plywood boat and then see if that takes care of the leaks? Because I kind of like that as a kind of fun hack,
I do too. Yeah. Okay. Well, make a video. We'll look forward to watching it.
Okay. Hey, if you're wondering if there's something you can do within your local community to help out, you know what I'm going to say. Consider donating blood. Yeah, that's Eric's thing. But yeah, redcrossblood.org. It takes maybe a half an hour, and you get to have snacks afterward. They usually have like chocolate chip cookies, the Oreo kind of their Oreo brand. But anyway, check it out. There are some limitations. They want to know a health history from you. The first time you go, it'll take a little longer. Be sure to drink extra water for the 3 days before your appointment. That will help greatly with the donation. And just relax and realize that you're giving something to your neighborhood, your town, your community that they can't make in a laboratory. They can't make blood. Okay? redcrossblood.org. Takes a half hour of your time. You've done something for everyone else. And you feel good about that. All right? Thank you. I do, actually, today we're posting a new video. I made a rain barrel out of a trash can at my sister's house, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really liked that. I already watched that one.
And my brother-in-law, Bill, helped me. And my sister has flooding problems in her backyard where the water's just standing after these dumping rains because it's clay out there where she lives. And we put in 2
Oh, no.
rain barrels, and it did help. It kept 100 gallons of water out of her backyard,
Wow.
So
that's great.
she bought a fancy one, a very nice looking rain barrel. And then I said, we can build one for
I
about
lost you.
$60.
Are you
And
there?
we did. And it worked out. It went together very quickly. It was kind of fun. You'll spend more
there?
time buying the parts at the big store than you will putting the thing together.
Oh, I lost you briefly, but maybe you were still talking and it still recorded.
I hope so. This is weird. We usually don't have any problems with this.
I know.
Huh.
Okay,
Anyway.
but you were saying, so I was going to say DC, many cities have programs where you can get a free rain barrel. And in fact, you can get them from DC. It's shocking nobody who's listening. My only problem with the ones they give out is I don't like the color of them.
Oh,
They only give out black ones.
I'm sorry.
I know. I know. Don't look a free gift barrel. And so I liked you're the one you posted was like a nice mint green or I don't know, seafoam green or I don't know, the color of the bucket.
Yeah, it's all good. I do. There are different colors you can get. The one my sister got, she it was a particular color she picked out. So the trash can, I used one of those heavy duty gray ones, like a janitorial trash can. But I know it's really thick and strong. So, and your choices in that are red or yellow or gray, I think. So,
Oh, I have seen people, I mean, I guess you could also spray paint it. So
yeah.
maybe I'm just being a little too extra.
Wow, we've covered so many things in 14 and a half minutes.
I agree.
Should I go next
What's
on my list, or would you have
yeah,
something?
go next. Let's do it.
This is not political, even though it may sound like it, but with our medical websites on government sites being changed and edited and important information being removed, there in the New York Times was an article about accurate, independent health information that is available online. It's usually nonprofit research organizations that are publishing that. And I will gift link the article. It's a New York Times article, and I can give a gift link in the show notes here. I just think that's important because I was wondering about should I get the next COVID vaccine or not,
Well, it's funny when the boys were little, I was looking for easily digestible information about, babies, who knows what it was, like hand, foot, and mouth or some other horrible malady. And other countries have really nice websites too. I'm not sure if they're mentioned in the article, but New Zealand had a really great website with information about child illnesses. Australia also and Canada all had very nice, useful websites as like another place to look for info.
I didn't think of that. That's brilliant. Yeah, we could step outside the borders here.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, I don't.
We might be.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we might be going to Canada again this summer. It's up in the air. More road tripping to Toronto and Quebec and Montreal.
I've been to Montreal. It's a beautiful city.
Oh
And
yeah.
it gets so cold during the winter that the downtown has tunnels to go from the different shopping areas because it's too cold to
Oh my
walk
God.
too cold to walk outside.
Oh my God. That's like yeah. Minnesota has that too. I love that. It's very cold.
It's just smart, And they speak French in Montreal, but they also speak English. But you should try and use some French there. They actually appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
During the
When
day,
we went years
sorry.
ago,
Go ahead.
when we went years ago for the baby moon, we met multiple people who did not speak English.
Yes.
And we didn't speak French,
Oops.
but we worked it out.
Well, now you have Google Translate. You have all sorts of apps on your phone. I use Google Translate here in Brooklyn sometimes because you run into someone who's looking for directions, and I just pull the phone out. And
We're so lucky. It's so amazing. Yeah, no, totally. Although along the lines of the mental health thing, I don't know if I sent you that article today from the New York Times about a man who had a psychotic break from using ChatGPT,
oh wow,
and he started thinking the world was a simulation.
yep.
The article, I mean, I can send you the link. It was disturbing, but I just am like constantly. The kids are tired of hearing about it. Like you just have to be really careful when you're using AI. It hallucinates. I think that's the word our good friend Rick uses. And you just have to pay attention to what you're, think critically about what you're reading. And yeah, Mom, we know.
I had to deal with someone who was experiencing a psychotic break once, and it was pretty scary, to tell you the truth. So
Yeah.
something to avoid.
Yeah. Here we are. Okay. All right. What's next on our list? Okay, that was good.
Yeah. So
Oh, we have after show stuff.
right. Well, I have one more topic to talk about for the main show, and then we'll hint at what we're going to talk about on the
Okay.
after show. But we've talked about this before, but there's this wacky process 2 days a week we go through on my block here in Brooklyn, where you have to move your car for street cleaning.
Yes.
Mondays and Tuesdays. So if last night we came home and I got a Tuesday spot I got a Monday spot because Monday morning everyone has to move, so they avoid that one. So I had my breakfast and then I got in the car and I double parked. But while I was having breakfast, I downloaded a documentary from Netflix onto the iPad. And then I sat in the car and I watched this amazing documentary. And the time just flew by. I usually sit there and I'm like, well, I'll try and be productive. And then I was like, well, what's that car doing? What's this car doing? And so the documentary is about the Titan submersible that exploded on its way down to see the Titanic. And they interview many of the key players, many of the expert submersible people that worked at the company that built the Titan. And it's called Ocean Gate, what's it called? Anyway, it was really well done. It does have that, I don't know why they do this, but while they do the voiceovers of the person, they have the person look out the window, or they look straight at the camera, but they're not saying anything, or they're walking purposely through their yard or something, which it seems like all documentaries do these days. And I find it kind of it's just bad B-roll to me. But anyway, it's very well done. And as soon as I started watching it, I had to watch the whole thing. And it's 2 hours long. But it's just, the whole story is told by the people that worked on the project. There isn't any host or anything narrating the thing.
Oh, wow. I mean, I can't watch that for the same reason I can't watch dog videos.
Yeah.
I mean, the little boy dying is just too much for me.
Yes. But it's fascinating, and it's kind of a lesson about hubris, and the people that wanted to observe the safety protocols and the people that didn't, and it came back to bite them. Yeah. Well,
okay. I look forward to that. We watched a funny. It was like an adventure movie with I think it's not Ant-Man. Brent gets really upset with me. This guy is not in the MCU. Anyway, it was like a treasure hunting movie, like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
But they lifted up the what's the name of it?
Lusitania.
The boat that. Thank you. Using giant air bubbles, and I mean, it was all AI generated, but it was amazing how they did it. I mean, what had to be AI? I don't know. But it was like Search for Treasure, or I don't know. It was just a cute film on Apple Plus, but we enjoyed it. I did a horrible job there, guys. I'm sorry.
It's just, I like that kind of, it's kind of escape. They do use big rubber or plastic heavy duty balloons essentially to lift up boats that have sunk.
Well, that's okay. So maybe it was real. I mean, I don't think they actually lifted up the
Lusitania.
Why can't I say that?
I know this because on YouTube, because I watch canal boat videos, there is a company that rescues canal boats and other boats that have sunk in British waterways. And they have one guy that just videos the whole process, and they got 5 guys in super duper, they're not quite wetsuits, but they're like really waders that go all the way up to your shoulder blades, like fishing waders. And they use they use pumps, and they use these bags that they fill with air, and they pump water out while they're lifting them. And I will link to the YouTube channel that does that, but it's just, it's just them lifting up a boat, and they're like, okay, we're going to do this. And I like that kind of thing. Yeah.
It's so satisfying, as the kids say. Okay, the movie was called Fountain of Youth, and it has John Krasinski in it and Natalie Portman. Oh. And they do exactly what you said. And one of my favorite YouTubers, their boat capsized in Newfoundland, and they had to get it out.
Oh, wow.
The husband and wife, now they're married. And that was crazy. And luckily, he calls them the old timers. And one of the old timers was there and knew what to do.
Yes, we do.
Are we old timers?
I don't know. I feel like I have a little more control over my brain now. And instead of just doing things right away, if if there's a problem, I usually wait to think about what to do.
Yeah, what are you going to do about that log that's on the ground?
Oh, well, everyone, on Patreon, I post, behind the scenes or what I'm doing during the day. And there, it was a huge oak that fell in my friend's property, and it hit a huge cherry, and dropped the cherry. It pushed the cherry down, and then the oak landed right on top of it. So it was perfect. We're cutting it up for firewood. It's not usable for furniture wood. There's a lot of rot in the wood, but it was really easy because the oak is up in the air. Because when you're cutting a tree that's down, you always have to make sure your chain doesn't hit the dirt or a rock that's in the dirt. If you hit a rock or a dirt, the chain's usually toast, and you have to get it resharpened. And so it's up in the air, and it was perfect. So we've cut it and cut it and cut it. And then I don't know if there was a big windstorm or something, but a couple of days later, after we were cutting the last time, the oak rolled off the cherry. And so I took pictures of that and sent it to my Patreon people. And you can either, if you're a supporter through Patreon, you get a little, if you have the app, you get a notification. If you're joined through the website, you get an email. And it's like the pictures are right there. If you get the email, the pictures are there. If you get the app, the email is right there as well. If you want to join through Patreon, please use the website and not the app. Otherwise, I have to pay 30% to Apple. But that's just the kind of thing that I share, because I really don't like Facebook anymore. I really don't like Instagram anymore. And I kind of trust the people that are patrons or supporters to not share the stuff all over. And that's just what I do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I'm still worried about how you're going to cut the log.
Carefully. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to dig under the oak. So we're cutting off 15-inch rounds. They're 15-inch pieces of the trunk. And then we push the log splitter in and set the log splitter to the upright position. So you're splitting wood that's on the ground. And we push the round so it lands up against the splitter, and then we split the rounds. And it's a lot of work to do it, but it makes a ton of firewood. And then
that's great.
After we split all that wood, we pull the splitter back and cut another round off. But it can take, like, we spent an hour and a half on that yesterday. We cut and split 2 rounds. Because then you always and you have to think about, like, there's a limb sticking out on the one trunk, and it's just a lot of physics involved. So now that the thing is on the ground, we're just going to get out a shovel and mark the log at the trunk at 15-inch increments, and dig like a 1 foot deep hole underneath each of those where those cuts are going to be. The soil's pretty loose, so I'm not too worried about it, but it just is more work. And you're in the deep woods, and you sprayed yourself for ticks and everything, so it's fun.
Oh yeah, what we had a tick the other day at the pool.
Ooh.
Yep, they're coming. And there's that new thing. The New York Times highlighted that there's a new virus in the ticks that you have to be careful of.
Yep. What fun.
All right, well, this was great.
On the After Show, we're going to talk about a B-52s documentary that I watched, the band, and also solving medieval murders with a mapping project from Cambridge University, which should be fun as well. All right, everyone. So if you have any thoughts, it's radio@gardenfork.tv. It's always fun to hear from you guys, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Yeah, we love email.
Garden Fork Radio is produced by Garden Fork Media, LLC in Brooklyn, New York. The music in the show is licensed from audioblocks.com and uniquetracks.com.